You walk into a room and within seconds, you can feel who's open, who's checked out, and who already decided they don't like you. Most people just push through that and just start talking. When I was 22 years old, my first year as a PE teacher, I had a gym full of kids who wanted to be anywhere else other than in that room. And I had to figure out within 10 seconds which ones needed encouragement, which one needed challenge, which one needed space, and which one needed proof that the activity was actually worth their time. 4 different kids, 4 completely different approaches, and I've used that same read in 850 speeches for Tony Robbins and in every company that I've trained at Sell Up. Those 4 personality types, how to spot them, and the real situation where reading the room changes the outcome, that's what we're getting into. When you're speaking to prospects or someone on your team for that matter, there are 4 different personality types. There are your directors, second, there are your connectors, third are your mismatchers, and fourth are your processors. Your directors are the people who come onto a call, know exactly what they want and what those outcomes are going to be. They don't ask a lot of questions. They don't need a lot of explanation. They need to know that they're going to get an ROI on the thing that they're looking for. Connectors are different in the way that they make buying decisions primarily off of trusting you as an individual. So they might start asking questions about you, your family life, how you grew up, where you're from, all of those things, so they can learn to trust you before trusting your product or service. You'll want to connect with them on a personal level before trying to pitch them on a business level. Third, you have your mismatchers. These are the people who always give you the flip side of the coin. They play devil's advocate. They try to poke holes in your argument. For these people, you want to use reverse psychology and say, this isn't something that you'd want, is it? Because these people typically are going to give you the reverse role, typically an engineer or someone who's more technically driven. And fourth and final is your processor. These are the people who need details. They're the people who want to know the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. They want to know exactly the game plan, and they're looking for a lot of reassurance around that game plan to know that each step is covered before saying yes on something. They ask for an email, they ask for a second email, and they ask you for a whole plan before they say yes. Understanding these different personality types and how to read them quickly will also give you the ability to influence them more quickly and get more yeses. Think about that one employee, the one that you explain something to clearly and they just don't get it. For example, as a business owner, if you're a director and you get on a call with one of your employees, you know exactly what your outcome is, you know how to make it time efficient, and you know how to get that outcome very quickly. Let's say that you're trying to get something done by a deadline. You know how to push the envelope, ask for what you need, and be assertive in getting those things done. A processor is someone who's going to need to cross their T's and dot their I's. They're someone who's going to ask multiple questions. They're going to ask for it to be written down. They're going to ask you to send a follow-up email and restate the details. Those two butt heads because one wants efficiency, something done fast. They know what they want already. The processor needs time to process it. They need time to digest the information, often in written form. And they're going to ask many questions that will lead to them getting reassurance before moving forward on an action. What you want to do as a director is you want to mind read. You want to give them the answer to some of their common questions before they think about it. It will sound something like this. Hey, I know you're probably going to have questions on A, B, and C project and the deadlines that we're going to have. So let me state those for you really quick. A, B, and C project is going to go like this. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And the outcome for that is going to be X, Y, or Z by this date. I'm sure you have some other questions for this. So I've already prepared an email debrief for you on exactly how we're going to accomplish this and the dates that are restated. In addition to that, this meeting is completely recorded, so you're going to get a summary of everything that we just talked about. So these aren't the only 2 personality types. There's actually 4 personality types that go along with mismatchers and connectors. But oftentimes the 2 that butt head the most are the directors and processors because one wants something done quick and one wants something done in process. We'll go more into the other ones just in a minute. Now let's give it a different example. Let's say that you're selling to a prospect and they've ghosted you or they vanished and you don't know why because you thought you had a great first call. Let's say that you're a processor and you're selling to a connector. Your natural way of influencing is going to be vomiting or word dumping and giving a ton of information. Here's what we do, here's how we do it, and all the details that go into it. By the time you got to your 3rd or 4th sentence, you've gone way over their head because a connector wants to know who you are first. They want to know that they can trust you before moving forward. So instead of giving all the details about your program or your services, you first want to connect with them on an individual basis. There's got to be a give and take. If they ask questions about you personally, you want to rebound those questions by asking about them personally. It will sound something like this. Hey, tell me a little bit about how you grew up. Then you answer the question, but you don't make it short. You want to give them enough information for them to trust you. Yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of LA and I landed in Austin, Texas. Never thought I'd be a Texas person, but I'm absolutely loving it here because of the zero tax state. How'd you grow up? And by asking that question back and volleying it back, they feel like they can trust you as an individual. If you shorten your answer or don't ask them a question back that rebounds that answer, you're going to sound off the alarms in their brain that says, I can't trust this person. Only then, once you gain the trust, can you then go into the details about your program, your services, and how you can solve their problem. So in contrast to this, if you're speaking to a director and you start talking about the weather and how you grew up, that just sounds like a bunch of fluff to them. They're going to get annoyed in the conversation and they're not going to take you serious. What a director wants is they want the answers to the things that they desire first. And so if you know they're coming on a call for an ROI, it will sound something like this. Hey, I know you're the kind of person who knows exactly what you want and how you're going to get an ROI for this conversation. Rather than going through all of the pleasantries, let's just get straight in how we can get you an ROI. Does that sound great? By doing so, they're going to resonate with you a little bit more because you're not wasting their time, you're efficient, and you're getting an outcome for them. This is where most people get it wrong in sales. They influence other people the way that they personally are influenced, and they assume naturally that other people like the same things that they do or will say yes for the same reasons they do. But by picking up on the different personality types within 3 to 10 seconds of the conversation, you're able to influence them in the way that they want to be influenced rather than influencing them in the way that you want to influence them. This allows those points to land on how do you increase your closing rate without having to change the exact words that you use, but naturally picking up on personality types. By the way, if you want to understand these personality types just a little bit better, what to say versus what not to say to influence that person, I've created a cheat sheet that I'll link down below. You can go ahead and check that out to relieve some of the friction that you might be feeling in your sales cycles with the different personality types. So let's switch to a fun example in our personal lives. Let's say that you go out on date night with your spouse. For example, my wife tends to be a processor, and depending on how my day went, I tend to be a director. And so we walk into the restaurant, we sit down, the waiter hands us our menus. My wife sits there and reads every single line in the menu, processes it, has a full-blown conversation, and the waiter might come around to the table 2, 3, 4 times before she's made her decision. Early on in my relationship, I sat down, I saw what I want, and I was ready to order within 2 minutes. I was frustrated with how long it took her to get the order in until I realized that she's a processor. And so giving room and the ability for her to make decisions in the way that she does allows me in my personal relationship to understand that I love and appreciate those things about her and not to expect us to get orders in within the first 2 minutes of sitting down. And that's not the point of date night. The point of date night is to enjoy our time together, not the goal of getting our food as fast as we can. You can use these different personality types both when you're making sales and when you're influencing people in your personal life to make sure that you guys get along and there's harmony in the home spot. So most people think that using these strategies can be manipulation to get things that you want, but they're actually used in a way for you to honor and appreciate the people that you speak to and getting into their world and showing respect and care for who they are as individuals. Like I demonstrated with my wife, there are times where she makes faster decisions because she knows that that is my natural way of doing things. And so there's a yin and yang, a give and take of understanding each other and their natural ways of being influenced. The same thing happens in your sales cycle. Early on, you want to feed the best parts of them by matching and mirroring their personality type. By the end of the sales cycle, once there's a lot of trust, you can bring a mismatcher into a director, you can bring a mismatcher into a connector, but when you first start to influence someone to build the rapport, that's when you want to use these at their height. If you found this video helpful, then you're definitely going to want to check out the next one. I'll see you right here.